Tonight on the Reno Show, the Ferris Building team are back at it again, reconstructing the living room of this 1880s house. Then I show you a clever way to save money and add value to any room with an Ikea hack shelving. And we turn a woven basket into a gorgeous feature pendant. And finally, Chloe joins us once more to discuss feature plants. Time. And this fireplace has been haunting so many of you who have been watching for months now. But it is time for everything in this room to change. Well, the floorboards don't look that bad, but...
Sorry.
Regan, what's the stress? Tell me what's happened.
Oh, the floor?
Yeah.
The floor's stuffed. It's going to be completely done.
And now it's over to the Ferris Building team to lay the giant LVLs to get this floor down. There seems to be a whole world of head shaking talking about these walls.
So I'm thinking we'll build our 70-45 wall on the inside here, all the way to the underside of the roof. That'll help support it all, and we can cut that out. And then I'm thinking building a 90-45 frame with a head.
Yep. Maybe if we actually do that before you put any frame up there, we get the opening size.
So it needs to be 2 metre opening size.
Yep.
By 26-50 high opening size.
Yeah.
First step, wall sheeting down. Second step, lining of the ceiling down. Oops, it wasn't all meant to come down that way, but it did. Third step, trying to remove this window as safely as possible, and then bring out the quick cut. I left here yesterday to go to the Rose Farm, and Regan was on a big quick cut, and there was water and there was dust and there was noise, and now there's no wall. Right. Now it appears there's a whole world of conversation about these very big doors that are part of my grand design. But after a lot of chat, it appears that the team are ready to get cracking. All of the infrastructure is now inside these walls, and it's time for the boys from Hunter Lining Projects to come back and install the Super Check. Now there's probably a few of you wondering, what is the difference between Gyprock and Super Check? So obviously Super Check goes on our walls just like Gyprock does. However, I've chosen to put Super Check in here for a few key reasons. Now the first, which you heard me mention weeks and weeks ago, is the acoustic quality. Super Check has great sound dampening properties, so it reduces the amount of noise that gets transmitted from one room to the next. And given that this space may be a space where we hold meetings, where we have drinks, or even hold small events, I want to make sure that the sound transfer into the front offices and the design studio is as small as possible. And my second huge reason for using this is its durability. So SuperCheck is 3 times tougher, which means from a durability and an impact resistance, it is absolutely perfect for someone like me. In come these gorgeous, massive, custom-made doors from Hume. They sit at around 1 metre wide and approximately 2,700 mil high. So they are very big, and there is a method to my madness, which you will understand once you get to see what will eventually be behind those doors. The gorgeous in-trim skirting boards, door trims, and picture rails and chair rails are going to continue into this space as well. It's one of the great ways that you can actually provide continuity and a really cohesive design to a space is to continue the same moldings throughout. Similar to in spaces 1 and 2, so the front 2 rooms, these were adhered to the walls with an adhesive as well as some little nails. And it's now time to install the crown jewels into this room with Hunter lining projects, all men on deck, because these guys are not only heavy, but they are truly an artesian art to hang. So if you're ever wanting to hang some real plaster cornices, make sure you check with your gyprockers before you do so, because it's not something that everyone wants to tackle. But I must admit, these guys have embraced it as bread and butter. Now, if I talk about the cornices as the crowns for the queen of this room, I'm not sure what to call the ceiling rose. Maybe it could be the diamond at the top. Now with this ceiling rose, I have gone super simple in its profile. I've wanted to make it as timeless as possible, not too embellished, but a way to echo the recurring lines that are in the cornices and to give it just a really simplistic, classy look. I could not be more excited about the large format tiles that are coming in, and I really wanted to show you the many ways that you can use tiles in your living spaces. Now these are from Beaumont Tiles, their slab tile range, and they are a gloss in a white onyx finish. And I am crushing on the soft light greys and the organic pattern that is in here. To be cut down to fit the height, and one full slab is going to be placed in the center at either side of the fireplace, and then a little thin slither either side that once we've put in a matching grout you are not going to see.
Is spectacular, Andrew.
Good. That's what I like to hear.
Oh my God, I'd hug you if you weren't tiling.
Sponge.
Oh my God!
Good, doesn't it?
Oh my God!
One side done, now for the other side. So I've got Dan from Newy Paint Crew in, and man, he makes it look easy, doesn't he? But I tell you what, he has been taping, gapping and spray painting for a really long time. So I'm going to leave him to it.
Rapid Renomate is the perfect renovator's companion for fast-tracking all your home projects, helping you renovate with ease and enjoyment. It's the new, smarter way to renovate. You'll be able to collate all your reno data, select all your products in one place, find your nearest suppliers, build and track your budget, get access to exclusive member offers, and manage your worksite and trades 24/7, all from your mobile phone. It's never been easier to start your personal or professional renovation. Rapid Renomate is free to download from the App Store and Google Play now.
So real cabinetry costs heaps of money.
Right.
So I want to use a hack. I want to have prefab, like flat pack cabinetry, and then I want you guys to miracle it up so it looks integrated. Like I want to skirt around it and all that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I got this from Ikea.
Mm-hmm.
After picking up our supplies from Ikea, it was over to Zach from Ferris Building to begin assembling the shelves. With the tedious assembly complete, we can begin framing and plastering. This not only adds functionality, but it allows for a seamless transition from the wall to the cabinetry. Now it's over to Dan to apply a coat of paint. What I need to do next is bring in another wallpaper. I found a beautiful botanical wallpaper that is in a monochrome, but it's a really gentle charcoal. And I'm going to be using that in conjunction with the grass cloth to really dress up the hack shelving. And just like that, our budget-friendly built-in shelving solution is complete. Today, our styling project is all about lighting. In fact, it's all about pendant lighting. I'm a massive fan of lighting and I think it can make a massive difference in your renovation. However, often beautiful or bespoke and creative pendant lighting can be a little bit cost prohibitive. So I'm going to show you today how you can make an original, one-of-a-kind pendant light using some simple stuff that's available from most hardware stores. Now to make this pendant light, we need a shade. So I have actually gone for a basket. This one's available from Kmart. I think it was $8, and I'm going to be turning this basket into a shade. We need naturally the lighting mechanism. You can get these from most electrical or lighting supplies, and you can even order them online. You need a drill with an appropriate size drill bit, and the part that is going to make it bespoke, original and different is how we are going to paint it. And at the end, we naturally need a beautiful light bulb to light it up. Now, to turn this basket into a shade, I need to really carefully remove these handles. So just with a pair of scissors, just delicately, very delicately, cut off these handle fixings. And then slide the handle through. The next thing we need to do is create a hole in the top of the basket to be able to pass this cord through. So all of these cords come with a little mechanism at the top. So this one's quite small, we'll more than likely be able to fit that through that hole. With some of them, if they are just a little bit larger, you can simply disconnect it and get an electrician to just reconnect those little points for you. Now, when you're drilling the hole in what will become the top of the shade to house your wiring and your cord for your pendant, make sure that's slow and steady. Remember, this is a bumpy natural fibre, and we don't want to be making this hole any bigger than we actually need. And there we have it, just big enough to fit my pinky through. Given this is a natural weave, what often happens if people wanted to paint part of it is it's very hard to get a straight line because this is a lumpy natural weave product. So what I'm going to do instead is a dipping technique. And you could either choose to dip the top end of your pendant. So in this case, we're going to be having a beautiful shade of warm white around the top, or you could choose to dip the bottom end of your pendant. Either way, it's going to look amazing. So I'm actually using here some leftover paint that I had. It's a Taubman's Injaw, and it's what I've used on another project. But I do get quite upset when paint goes to waste. When there's a pile of paint sitting in someone's garage, and it can and does go off with time. And so I love to be able to see what I can use the paint for. Now, as I mentioned, this is a gorgeous white. I'm actually going to, I've already stirred it up, must stir no matter how you're choosing to apply it. I'm going to pour it into this tub and then dip the basket. So you only fill it up as much as you need the paint to be covering. Now for the water, just to water this paint down just a little bit. Have to make sure you mix this very thoroughly. The last thing you want is different levels of opaque paint on your pendant. I would naturally never recommend you watering down paints from their original purpose if you were using them, for example, to paint a wall. However, in this circumstance, when we're using leftover paints for crafting purposes, I'm totally okay with it. Okay, our paint's nice and watery, basket in hand, remembering I am dipping the top of the pendant. So make sure there's no dust or little bits and bobs hanging out, and let's get ready to dip it in. Now, as you dip it in, I want you to go really slow and steady. Only submerge it to the point that you want the paint covered. Let it sit there for just a little bit. If you want a nice organic, uneven look, you can even squeeze your basket left, right, and it will give you the effect of little waves sort of lapping on the sides of the cane pendant. Now, once you're done, bring it up, tap it off, be really patient, because the last thing you want is to flip it up and have runs down the side of your pendant. Now that this is touch dry and only just, I have threaded through the pre-drill hole the mechanism and got it back through the shroud. Now all that's left to do is work out exactly what height inside of this pendant that you want your light sitting. And once you've worked that out, it is as simple as tying a very loose, not tight, very loose knot in that cord and then pulling it through. Now, it's always worth checking, depending on the globe that you're using and the wattage of the globe that you're using and any heat that it emits, that it's going to be okay with this natural fibre and it's not going to be a fire hazard. So make sure you always are looking to use a really, really low, low wattage globe, so we're not going to be emitting too much heat and we're not going to get ourselves into trouble. Now these beautiful big globes, they're available pretty much anywhere nowadays. You can get them from Coles, you can get them from Target, pretty much anywhere. So let's just screw that in and make sure that the knot is in the right position. So you just have my globe at the bottom of my pendant. Now this is one variety of how you can dip and create custom pendants. You could use wire baskets, bigger baskets, you could use cane bowls, timber bowls, you name it, the sky is the limit. With these mechanisms, these pendant mechanisms available everywhere nowadays, it means that you can literally find something that catches your eye, you can dip it, roll it, paint it, print it, whatever you might like, and install it as your most beautiful pendant light that's truly yours. Now all that's left to do is give the electrician a call and get this one installed. I hope this is what I think it is. I always get nervous opening boxes because I get so excited that I generally cut whatever's in it open. Oh my gosh. I am so happy right now. I could have a cry. That is going to look amazing.
Right.
How hot's that?
Is that a picture of roses or something on the side, or is it just white?
It's just white.
Oh, right.
You're not loving it, are you? Do you like it?
Yeah.
Nice response.
That's great. It reminds me of what I use for wiping sometimes. Do you know what height these are?
Yeah, that's why I'm here today, so we can work it out. I'm not going anywhere. Is that cool?
Yeah.
I'm using quite a bit of lighting in this place. We have a feature pendant, which is exactly for what the name suggests. It's as a feature. And then I'm popping in some more feature lighting that's doubling as task lighting. Above the reading nooks, either side of the fireplace, I'm installing wall sconces. This not only illuminates the beautiful slab tiles, but it also provides reading light for anyone who might want to nestle into that nook. I'm super excited about my decision to put in a real wood fire again, but it has taken some thought from the team about how to actually make it happen in this really old and decaying fireplace. To give it a place to rest, be secure, and be safe, we've had to create a fire retardant surface for it to sit on, which was naturally concrete, and an FC sheeting frame around the front. This has allowed the Kalara fireplace to slide into it, and now all I need is for Regan to trim it up with some beautiful materials from Intrim. I'll get some paint onto it, and our masterpiece will nearly be complete. In this space, I'm wanting to add yet another layer of texture. And as you saw earlier, I've chosen an absolutely beautiful grass cloth wallpaper. Now in this instance, I'm going to be placing that between the skirting board and the chair rail. It's really hard wearing, really forgiving, easy to clean, and it also adds that extra level of indulgence. Welcome to the living room at Carrington House. It is finally done and I have to claim it right now, hardest room to date, without doubt. This room has been such a challenge. I mean, we had a swamp under the floor, we had a fireplace that was leaning, a mantle that was falling over, walls that were falling apart, and we had the challenges of bringing in the big doors that everybody is talking about. So to bring this together, I needed a really strong team. And to be honest with you, it was a huge challenge in that there were times that our team had to come back and forth, because especially the fireplace wall, it was such a team effort. Intricate detail with the plasterers, with the builders, with the lecos, with the painters, with the tilers, you name it, everyone had a hand in there. The finishes in here are much more neutral than in room 1 or room 2, if you've seen that. I've definitely brought some of the blues into here so that they all talk to one another. However, this room is all about layers. I mean, we have the Durfloor vinyl planks that are so textured, and then we have the beautiful in-trim trims. So in this room, we have the skirts and the chair rails and the picture rails, and then to give that real warm detail at a low level, I've got grass cloth wallpaper which I picked up from my local Bristol store. I have so many favourite things in this room actually. Everything from the beautiful white Tribeca tiles which adorn the chimney, and let's face it, between the sealer and the render underneath those tiles and then the tiles around the chimney, it's actually holding it together. And then it's flanked by unbelievably large format slab tiles from Beaumont Tiles. They're a white onyx and they're in a gloss. And for me, this isn't only about creating a beautiful, I guess kind of like, I don't know, it's like soldiers or it's like guardians either side of the fireplace. It's also unbelievably practical. It means no matter who sits at that bench seat either side of the fireplace, I don't have to worry about oil from their hair, makeup, dirty hands. It is going to be so hard wearing and magnificent to look at. Next favourite thing, without doubt, has to be the giant doors. There's a little bit of a double edge with the giant doors because one, I just love the scale that it plays with. I love the fact that the room's quite small. It's actually a traditional old-fashioned 1880s living room size, nowhere near as big as our current living room sizes. So I've played with the scale by making these absolutely huge doors. Between the huge doors and the massive pendant light, it's a great example of playing with scale in space. A small space doesn't mean that everything has to be tiny. My next favourite thing, I've talked about all things that are actually fixed in this room, but in this space I have 2 non-fixed favourite things actually. I've got a lot of favourite things. I adore these lounges. One of the challenges that we often have when we're furnishing older homes is that real juxtaposition where a lot of the furniture that is available on the market is either too oldie-worldy and not practical, or it's too modern and just looks simply silly in a really old home. Well, I have lucked up. I got these from Brosser. So you can order them online, which is so convenient, and they deliver to your door. But the thing that I love about these lounges, so I got a Diana 3-seater and 2 Diana armchairs in a contrasting colour. The thing I love is the level of detail. I love the studding on them. I love the textured linen, which is going to be so forgiving when it comes to marks and scuffs. And I adore the fact that there's a nod to yesteryear, yet they're super comfy and they fit in with this traditional home perfectly. And the last movable thing that is one of my favourites, without doubt, is this fabric. So this is fabric custom designed by me from a William Morris original, who, if you haven't checked him out, he is amazing. So I designed up this fabric, had it printed, and got some cushions made from it, which there's just, I don't know, it's really lovely when you have a space to have a touch of history or a touch of you. It's beautiful to be able to include you and the things you love in a space. 3 biggest challenges without doubt: the swamp, the floor and walls, and the fireplace, without doubt. Huge shout out to my team that worked on the fireplace with me. So we have Ferris Building, Newey Painting Crew, Hunter Lining Projects, and Pachira Tiling. Check them out. They were all so considerate of one another working on this. And the icing on the cake in this room is that I've actually been able to reinstate a form of fireplace. It's not an open fireplace, but with the help of the team from Calora, I have an inbuilt solution that is going to keep this room and the rest of the house toasty for the coldest winters to come. I chose to install an inbuilt system because 1, I didn't want the mess of an open fire. 2, I wanted the beautiful feeling of being able to see fire. And 3, the ease of insulation into an existing chimney, which meant that I didn't have to go about repairing the really old chimney, was just a bonus. What would I have changed in this space? The one thing I would have changed in this space is I would have been ultra prepared, and I would have ordered my rug 7 months ago, pre-COVID, which would have meant that it arrived. Instead, I've had to make do with one that I had. It's not perfect, which upsets me a little, but it still looks great. Well, that's it. The living room is a wrap. I hope you've really enjoyed the journey of this living room with me and with my team. It's certainly been one with lots of ups and lots of downs. Here with Chloe from the Greenery Sydney again with a feature plant. This looks like tea leaves.
It does. This is a Cottonanthe crucifolia.
Wow, that one is a mouthful. Is there a common name for it?
Not really. So it is a relative of the bellflower, but no common name for
Does
this
it
one.
flower?
It does. It gets small little flowers on it, little yellow star-shaped flowers.
It's quite sweet. It's not related at all to the jasmine?
No.
But it has that beautiful, gorgeous, long green leaf. And these are actually, for a trailing plant, outrageously straight.
It is.
Just saying.
It is. And they're beautiful. This is one of my favourites.
And so with this one, I'm assuming that I need to be quite gentle with it. It's not going to enjoy me pulling at the leaves too much.
Pretty gentle, pretty gentle.
And what about watering? And again, I assume this is a hanging basket or a trailing shelf or even like a sideboard like is behind us.
Yeah, definitely.
And how do I make sure that I keep that one alive?
Don't kill this one. So during its growing season...
Are you saying I kill plants, Chloe?
I'm not, Naomi.
All right. During its growing season, which is when?
Spring, summer.
Okay.
It likes to be kept moist, so watering this one every couple of days during summer.
Every couple of days?
Every couple of days.
That's commitment.
It is.
Okay.
But during winter, again, don't water it too much.
Maybe once a week? Or once a fortnight?
Yeah, maybe once every 3 weeks even.
Wow,
Yeah.
that is a really big difference in how much we feed this one.
Definitely.
So we actually need to be in tune with this plant. It's not a set and forget.
No, not during growing season. So, and then again, every 3 weeks it will need fertilizer as well during growing season.
Okay, so let's talk a bit about fertilizer.
Yes.
So when you say a little bit of fertilizer, have you walked down the fertilizer aisle?
I know.
There are hundreds, literally, of fertilizers. So which one do you use?
I love to go for a nice Charlie Carp liquid fertilizer.
Oh, organic?
Yes, organic, and the plants love it. They really thrive off that if you feed, especially this one, every 3 weeks.
Every 3 weeks, even in winter?
Not during winter.
Okay,
just growing
only in
season.
its growing seasons. So let's get this right.
Yeah.
What's it called?
It is a Cottonanthe crucifolia.
Perfect. In winter, watering once every 2 to 3 weeks.
Yes.
In growing season, which is spring and summer,
Yep.
watering every 3 days
Yep.
and fertilising every 3 weeks.
That's right.
I might even give this a bash in my home and let you know how it goes.
Sure.